In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get started with your MotionEye project. Let's see what we need to prepare first. The first thing you'll need is a Raspberry Pi 3B+. The second thing you'll need is a 32GB Class 10 SD card with its adapter. You need to insert the micro SD card into the adapter like this. The third thing you'll need is a USB camera. This camera can be any USB camera of your choice. The fourth thing you'll need is a micro USB cable with ends like this. I would assume that you have Wi-Fi and a Chromebook computer to start this project. In order to find the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, some optional items you need are a USB keyboard, an HDMI cable with both ends like this, and an HDMI monitor. If you don't have an HDMI monitor, you can also use a TV with HDMI input ports. Now we will need to download MotionEye OS image. In order to do that, we can go to the shelf here and we can double tap the Chrome icon. In the search engine, you want to type in MotionEye OS Wiki. It'll most likely be the first link. It's a GitHub link. Once you click it, it'll bring you up to this page. You want to go to the right-hand corner of your screen and you want to find the link that says supported device. Once you click that link, it'll bring you up to this page. You want to continue to scroll down until you can find Raspberry Pi 3B+. You want to go down here and it says the latest version. You want to click this link and on the bottom right-hand corner, it would say downloading. Now that we've successfully downloaded our image file, let's check on it in the downloads folder. In order to do that, you should go to the bottom of your screen to the shelf. By double-clicking on the files icon, it will pull you up to this tab. Then double-click on the downloads folder. You'll see that our file has been successfully downloaded into this folder. We know this is a compressed file because the type is an .exe file. We need to decompress this file. In order to do that, go back down to the shelf. You'll see this archive extractor icon, in which we downloaded in the previous episode. By double-clicking on it, it will pull you up to this website. Then click Choose File from your computer. You'll see that it pulls you up to the Files tab again. You should tap on the file and click Open. Now that our file has been successfully decompressed, let's download it. By clicking on this link, you will download the decompressed version. You'll see that it says downloading in the bottom right corner. Now that our decompressed file has been downloaded, let's check on it in the downloads folder. In order to do that, go back to the shelf and click on the files icon again. You'll see that the decompressed file has been successfully downloaded into this folder. You want to right click and go down to the options and click rename. You then want to add .bin at the end. This makes it a binary file. Now that our decompressed file has been successfully downloaded into the Chromebook, let's copy it to the SD card. In order to do that, we have to insert the SD card into the Chromebook. Before you get started, make sure that the SD card is successfully inserted into its adapter. You should also make sure that you want to insert the metal part of the adapter facing towards the Chromebook and down. You want to insert it into the SD card slot on your Chromebook. You should hear a click. Now that we have inserted the SD card into the Chromebook, let's copy the MotionEye image file to the SD card. In order to do that, go to the bottom of your screen to the shelf. You'll see this Chromebook recovery utility icon in which we installed in the last episode. By clicking on it, it will pull you up to this application. Go to the top of the application to the gear icon. By clicking on it, it will give you three options. Click Use Local Image. It will ask you to select the file to open. Select the file that we decompressed. Click Open. It will ask you to select the media you'd like to use. Click on the Select tab and click SD card. Then click Continue. Click Create Now. Now that our file has been successfully copied to the SD card, we can click Done. If we've copied the decompressed file to the SD card, we can exit out of the file's application. Go back to the Motion iOS Wiki tab which we opened before. By scrolling up on the right-hand side of your screen, under Installation, you'll find the link to Wi-Fi pre-configuration. Click on that link. We want to make a WPA supplicant.configuration file in order to set up the Wi-Fi for the Raspberry Pi. In order to do that, scroll down. You'll see step number 10. You'll see under it there's some code. You want to select it, right-click on it, and click Copy. Now we want to go back down to the shelf to the text icon. By clicking on it, it will pull you up to the text application. Now that we've copied the code, let's paste it into the text application app. In order to do that, right-click on the blank screen here and go down to the paste option. By clicking it, you'll see that our code has been successfully pasted into the text application. Next to SSID under the quotes, you want to put in the name of your wireless Wi-Fi. Then, next to PSK under the quotes, you want to put in the password to that Wi-Fi. On the left-hand side of your screen, you want to go to the Save option. By clicking it, it will ask you where you want to save this file. Go to the External Drive tab. You'll see that you'll have multiple drives here. You want to select the drive that has both the config.txt file and the command line.txt file. If you don't see the External Drive tab, then you may want to take out your SD card and reinsert it into the Chromebook. Once you've found the correct drive, you want to go down to the bottom and rename your file. You want to rename it as WPA_supplicant.conf. Now that we've copied the image file to the SD card, let's add everything to the Raspberry Pi. Make sure before you start that the USB ports are toward the right side of you. The first thing that we want to do is we want to tilt the Raspberry Pi so that there are 3 ports facing you. The first thing that we want to do is we want to insert the HDMI cable. You want to insert it into the biggest port. You want to get the other end and you want to insert it into any HDMI monitor that you have. The next thing that we want to insert is the micro USB cord. You want to insert it into this port right here. Then you want to get the other end and you want to insert it to any power plug near you. The next thing that we need to do is we need to flip the Raspberry Pi this way. Then we want to take out the SD card and its adapter from the Chromebook. Once you've done that, you want to take out the SD card from its adapter. You then want to insert the SD card into a little port right here. Once you've done that, you want to tilt it this way again to the ports. You want to get your USB keyboard and you want to get the cord and you want to insert it into any of these ports. Now that we've set up the Raspberry Pi, let's set up the HDMI monitor so we can find the wireless IP address of this Raspberry Pi. The first thing you want to do is you want to plug in this micro USB cord into a power outlet. Once you plug it in, you'll see that these 2 lights are on, the red and green lights. It will take a while, so you just kind of have to wait. You'll see that it's starting the WPA supplicant, and you'll see that it says starting MotionEye. And this is the IP address. You can see it's right here. And if we go down here, it'll ask if you miss or you don't see the IP address right here. You can also do another way. So right here, it'll ask you for a login. The login would be admin. You can click enter. And the password, there isn't a password, so you can just click enter again. And you want to type in clear and enter. You'll see that the code goes all the way to the top. And you want to type in if config, enter. And you'll see that under WLAN 0. This is the IP address. In our case, it would be 192.168.86.22. Now that we found the wireless IP address of this Raspberry Pi, we can unplug all the cords except the micro USB cord to keep the power on. The next step is to connect this USB camera to the Raspberry Pi. Now remember, it can be any USB camera of your choice. Once you can flip the Raspberry Pi this way, and you can just insert the USB cord into one of the USB ports. Now that we've found the IP address of this Raspberry Pi and we've connected the USB camera to the Raspberry Pi, let's check out the MotionEye application on your Chromebook. The first thing you want to do is you want to open up a new tab and type in the IP address you found out on the Raspberry Pi. You might have a different IP address as us, but you can just type in your IP address. It will then pull you up to this link and it asks for your username and password. It would be the same thing, so the username would be admin and there is no password. So you can click login. And you'll see that you have not configured any camera yet. So in order to add one, you want to go to the top left of your screen to the 3 bars. After you click that, there's a little drop down here. And if you click it, there's an option where you can add a camera. Click it. And it will ask you for your camera type and which camera. So our camera type would just be the local V4L2 camera since we're using a USB camera. The camera we'll use is the USB camera down here. It can be any of them. And you can click OK. And the camera will connect to the Chromebook. And you'll see that the FPS is pretty low. It's only around 5 to 7 FPS. So in order to change that, we should go to the left side of the screen, and if we scroll down, you can find the drop down of video streaming. Once you click it, it will pull you up to these options, and the first one is streaming frame rate. You can just slide the bar to the FPS that you want, so we can just put it at 20, for example. And you can click apply and you can see that the FPS has increased and the video quality is a little smoother. So yeah, there are also a lot of other things you can do with this MotionEye application, and we will go through those things in the next episodes.